Welcome to another Travel Tea Talk. Today we are gonna talk about the cost of living in Costa Rica. And in honors of Costa Rica, I'm wearing this beautiful top that I bought in Costa Rica because right now we are back home and it feels so good. Jamie and I have been traveling to Latin America for the last 5 months. We've spent 3 months in Costa Rica and I'm super excited to share with you guys everything that we've experienced there in Costa Rica. And of course, we get so many questions about how much did it cost, how we managed to do that. So I'm gonna share all of that with you guys. And you do want to stay till the end because I'm going to be giving you guys some bonus tips, like things I wish I knew before living in Costa Rica for 3 months. So you definitely want to make sure you stick until the end for these bonus tips. And also, I will be doing cost of living in Guatemala, of here in Canada. I will be sharing a lot of insights about those 5 months where we've traveled in Latin America and had so many amazing experiences. So if you want to have all the tea, all the information, make sure you subscribe to this channel. It's a small channel, it's free. You'd be helping us out a lot. It's the support that matters. The support to keep going and share all this information and all of our adventures with you. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started on the cost of living in Costa Rica.
You've arrived at your destination.
I am going to be talking about the cost of living in Costa Rica 2024, but this wasn't actually my first time in Costa Rica. This was my 12th time. And the bonus tips that I'm going to be sharing at the end are all about where to go in Costa Rica because I have a very set itinerary. I actually did a viral video about this on TikTok. If you're gonna spend 7 days in Costa Rica, where to go, or like 2 weeks in Costa Rica, where to go. So you can check that out as well. We tried a lot of different things this time, and obviously the cost varies about where you go and things like that. So this is gonna be based on where we went this year in 2024 and the prices that are current and actual right now in 2024. Okay, so that's the first thing that we're gonna be talking about is housing cost. So housing costs, that's like, I'm gonna say 60% of the budget quite easily. If you plan on traveling to Costa Rica or if you travel to Costa Rica, you know this. Costa Rica is not cheap. Costa Rica is definitely a champagne nomad, champagne traveler kind of luxury destination. It is not cheap, and that is also reflected in the housing prices. But if you ask me, I think that yes, it's a little bit overpriced, but I've been to a lot of places in Latin America. I've been to Panama, Guatemala, Nicaragua a couple of times, Colombia. Yeah, so without any hesitation, Costa Rica is the place where I have always felt the safest. I've been there solo and I've always felt safe. There's also a quality of life in Costa Rica that's kind of unheard of. Like, it's clean, it's the pura vida, the lush nature, the jungle. So all of that comes with a price. So we've spent approximately $2,000 per month on our accommodations. This is most amount of money that we've spent personally in Latin America on accommodation. Anywhere from $1,500 to, man, it can easily go to $4,000 a month depending on where you're staying. The accommodations that we had were by all means not luxurious. We could not afford like the more luxurious side of things in Costa Rica considering the costs of everything. So we went with, like, I'm gonna say very average accommodations, but we always made sure that we had a kitchen and good Wi-Fi, which is essential for us because we're working as we're traveling. The most expensive places in Costa Rica, in my opinion, are on the west coast of Costa Rica. So if we're talking Tamarindo, Nosara, Santa Teresa, these places are wildly expensive. So you can expect to pay easily, I'm gonna say 3,000 a month would be like a fair price for these places. Obviously, I have some few tips for you guys to try to get the best possible deals when it comes to accommodations. So the first thing is Facebook groups. We've used them so much to help us find accommodations, and the prices are a lot lower on the Facebook groups than they would be on obviously like booking.com or Airbnb, which brings me to another point that I want to talk about. Airbnb, you can always negotiate. I personally had a horrible, well, me and Jamie had a horrible experience with Airbnb in Costa Rica, so I'm not sure that we will continue using Airbnb. It's been traumatic, to be honest, but I'll come back to that. That's going to be in like the bonus points destination at the end of this video. Obviously, when you rent for longer periods of times, you get better discounts and better deals. But the absolute best advice that I can give you guys, if it's possible for you, and if you know someone that's local, they are the people that will find or get you the best deals. So obviously that might not be feasible like on your first month. Let's say you're traveling to Costa Rica for 3 months. You won't know anyone or anything like that. But once you're there, start networking, be like, hey, I'm looking for a place to rent for the next 2 months, and and then the local people or the people who are living there will really guide you and be like, oh yes, I have this friend that has and that's how you can find the best options. Oh, and by the way, the accommodations, we've never taken shared accommodation because we're a couple. We always do private accommodations. So obviously you might find better deals if you're just renting a room or something like that. Okay, number 2 is food, groceries, restaurants. So I actually have an exact number for this. And again, Costa Rica is the only place in Latin America where we were actually cooking, I'm gonna say 80% of our meals. Throughout the week, we would eat at home, cook, and on the weekends, we would treat ourselves and go to restaurants. And so that figure is $1,753, which is really, it's expensive. It's expensive, but it's not that expensive. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think and how much you spend on food. But that's including our restaurants. That's including like the treats, the everything. And that's for 2 people as well. I want to add to that Costa Rica, again, when it comes to like the lifestyle, they had the best groceries of everywhere that we've been to in Latin America. In Bocas del Toro in Panama, I was like struggling to do groceries. It was more convenient to go to the restaurant than the grocery stores because there was no fruit, no vegetables in the grocery store, but not in Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, the grocery stores are filled with fresh fruit, that's hard, I'm French by the way. fresh fruits, coconuts, like everything that you can imagine. That's how much it costs for the both of us to eat. Next is transportation. Oof, okay, so this one can vary a lot depending on how you like to travel. Are you a penny scratcher or are you, again, a champagne nomad? This all depends on you. But for us, we simply could not afford renting a car or an ATV, which, like I said, I've traveled to Costa Rica. This was my 12th time, so I've been there so many times in the past, and I could always rent an ATV. Me and my friends would go there and we would rent an ATV for a week or 2. It was never an issue. But the prices have inflated so much that this time it was just completely crazy. Like we could not. It was like $1,000 USD per week for an ATV, like $4,000 a month for an ATV. Very similar for cars. We're talking like 80 to 100 USD per day. So for us, that was 100% like no go. We're not paying that. We chose destinations that were really walkable And then another option that's affordable would be renting a bicycle if you really need to cover long distances. But again, it really depends on your budget. And then to travel from destination to destination, Costa Rica, again, for this is amazing. Pricier, but hey, you get the service. There's shuttles that will take you absolutely everywhere. It's really safe, it's really convenient, it's really easy. You can book everything online. Like there's no hassle of like, oh my God, how do I do this? How do I get there? Honestly, you just Google, like, I don't know, Santa Teresa to Tamarindo bus, and you're gonna get a bunch of options. And for us, we always paid anywhere between 50 to 75 USD per person to get from place to place. And we've traveled quite a lot. So again, this really depends on your traveling style. Are you someone that just likes to stay put in a destination and really like explore and stay at this one place? Or you're moving around a lot? Obviously, if you're moving around a lot, that's gonna be a bit more expensive. But for us, during the 3 months that we were there, we ended up doing, how many destinations? 3. So 3 months, 3 destinations. I will come back to that at the end of the video. And that was perfect for us. But again, we're digital nomads. We're working as we're traveling. We only have like the evenings, you know, and weekends to really like explore and do what we want. So that worked out perfect for us. Little tea break. This cup is actually from Guatemala. I don't know if you can see the writing, but it's so cute. It's one of our favorite cups now. So next up is healthcare, and I cannot believe how many people I meet that actually travel without healthcare. And if you ask me, that's just plain stupid, honestly. Costa Rica is not the cheapest place. There's some places that are more affordable than others, but if something happens to you, you do not want to rack up tens of thousands of dollars of medical bills. So Jamie and I, whenever we leave the country, we don't leave without a minimum travel medical insurance to ensure that like if we have flight delays, cancellation, lost baggage, if we have anything medical that happens to us, we're covered. And obviously, I work for Safety Wing, so this is my preferred travel medical insurance, but it's also the one that I was using before I worked for them. It's only a few dollars a day. Honestly, it's one of the most affordable ones on the market, and there's a lot of reasons why I choose Safety Wing. One of them is that you could literally sign up in the plane. And as a digital nomad, I had a lot of issues. I've done so many quotes before, and it's always like, when are you leaving? When are you coming back? And like, I don't always know the answers to these questions. So it's pay as you go subscription-based model. You pay when you're using it. You don't pay when you're not, which is perfect. They don't ask you for where you're gonna go and how long. I mean, you just cancel when you're done traveling. It's $0 deductible, so even the smallest claims are covered, and the customer service is a game changer. First of all, you speak to a real human, and I know these people personally, and you guys are amazing. So that's really cool, and they always answer under a minute. So literally any question that you have, they are there, you're covered. It's a few dollars a day. It's a no-brainer. So travel medical insurance is always part of our travel budget when we travel. For us in Canadian, it was approximately $92 per person, which is like $60 per person, but the price vary on your age and your regions. But if you want more information, you can check the link in my description. And also, if you have any questions, ask me in the comments, because I work there. Okay, last but not least, we have entertainment and lifestyle, which is a huge part of our budget. I mean, we travel because we want to live and experience the world and offer ourselves all these amazing, unique opportunities. So we do have a budget for that. In Costa Rica, we did a frog and snake night tour. We did a lot of surfing, like renting surfboards, hanging out at the beach, which is free, which is great. A chocolate tour, which was awesome. We visited the hot springs. We went to the sloth park. We did a volcano hike. So we plan approximately $500 to $600 a month. And for us, that was more than okay, more than enough. We had a blast, and Costa Rica is a totally adventure-driven destination. Again, this really depends on you and your style of traveling, and obviously you're not gonna have the same budget if you have a 2-week vacation than if you're staying there for 3 months. So we had to pace ourselves. I will say that if you rent a surfboard, it was a lot more expensive than I expected. Again, back in the days, it used to be like $50 for the week or whatever, and now is like $9 an hour. Obviously, if you're gonna rent it longer, you're gonna get a better deal, so always negotiate. But for us, it was kind of like, sometimes we would do it, sometimes we would bodyboard. So we just bought a little bodyboard in a store, and that was like $15. And like sometimes we would just bodyboard, and sometimes we would just be in the ocean and just be. And another thing, the hot springs, I posted a video on TikTok about that as well, how you can go completely free. So check that out, or ask me in the comments if you want to know, because you can go to the spa one, and it's the same water, by the way, and they're gonna charge you like 80 USD. And there's literally a river next to it where Jamie and I spend the whole entire day for free. It's the same water, it's the same heat. It's just that you don't have like the amenities and like a butler, but up to you. Oh, we also found this super cool spot where you could jump rope, and that was also free, and that was super cool. So that's our budget. Now for some tips and destinations. If you stayed this long, by the way, thank you so much. Please leave a comment so that I know that you've listened to this and that this has been helpful. I don't know what you comment. Oh, comment a little sloth emoji so that I know that you've listened to this video this far. And the sloth is like the spirit animal of Jamie, and it's also the totem animal of Costa Rica. So comment a sloth. And again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to see the next videos that are coming and to support this small little channel. This is our itinerary. So usually when I go to Costa Rica, all my life, I've been doing the same exact thing. I land in Liberia Airport. I go to Tamarindo for a couple of days. Tamarindo is, okay, the locals call it Tamagringo. Because it's full of tourists. It's very like Americanized, but it's cool. I actually like Tamarindo. It's convenient. Like it's very convenient. It's very easy. It's an hour away from the airport. So I recommend. It's a cool destination. There's still some surf there and everything. Then I go down on the west coast, either to Nosara or Santa Teresa. Santa Teresa is like one of my favorite destinations in the world. Like nothing compares to Santa Teresa. However, it is completely, the prices have completely blown off of proportions. So be careful if you're going to Santa Teresa. Like I think it's the most expensive place in Costa Rica. So this time, Jamie and I decided we are going to try some different destinations. Come on, we're digital nomads, we're explorers, let's do something different. So we decided to land and head to La Fortuna Arenal. So 100% recommend. It is worth the detour. However, if you are a digital nomad, you have to know that this is a microclimate and it rains a lot, like a lot. Okay, we were there for 3 weeks and I think we had like 4 days of sunshine in Costa Rica. Can you imagine? So that's my first tip. If you're gonna go to Arenal La Fortuna, check the weather. It might be completely different for you, but it's a microclimate and it's very unpredictable. So I heard about this digital nomad hub called Puerto Viejo. It's on the east coast of Costa Rica. And I had never been on the east coast. I mean, as digital nomads, Jamie and I are very like, oh my God, we want to meet other digital nomads. Like we want to explore. So we decided to give it a go. I do not recommend Puerto Viejo. This was the worst experience of our whole entire 5 months. And this is where Airbnb comes into play. So Another tip would be do not book Airbnbs for long periods of times unless you're like 100% sure. So what Jamie and I are gonna do if we ever use Airbnb ever again is gonna book a hotel, go check the Airbnb like a couple of days in advance to make sure that it's okay, and then book the Airbnb. Because honestly, the host of this Airbnb was a scammer. They must have blocked off every single comment that ever mentioned this, but this Airbnb ended up being in a drug cartel. I kid you not, guys. I kid you not. We had to pass in front of drug dealers every single day to go to the coffee shop, the grocery store, the beach, like you name it. As a woman, it was super uncomfortable. Like as a man, it was super uncomfortable for Jamie too, but they would harass me. I have asked the host if we could get our money back, like cut the trip short and leave. She absolutely did not want to cooperate. She was really mean. She was like, you're a rich foreigner. Like, totally not true. I'll never give you your money back. Nah, nah, nah. I opened like about 50 claims with Airbnb. They asked me the stupidest things, guys. I will never get over this. They asked us to send pictures of the drug dealers so that they could assess the situation, which is like putting our lives in danger. But I was so desperate to get out of there that we did. I put my phone in my back pocket, and as I was walking out, like I recorded and did some print screen of my screen after that and send it to them, for them basically to be like, the drug dealers are not in your property, therefore we're not gonna give you your money back. So that was like very traumatic. There was a shooting the week after that, and we just decided that like our safety has no price. We are leaving. So we packed our stuff and we left for Panama. And that's a whole nother adventure and story time for another YouTube. I recommend that like you really check the comments. Don't book too long in advance, honestly. And Puerto Viejo, I do not recommend. I think that's where there's a lot of like violence, and it felt a little bit like trashier. But everywhere around that was okay. So that's my other tip. And then we ended our trip on the beautiful, beautiful West Coast, my favorite place. We didn't go to Santa Teresa because we couldn't find anything that was within budget. So we ended up in Samara. And it's a gem. Like geographically, it's between Tamarindo and Nosara, but like development wise, it's kind of like a little bit less developed than Nosara, I'm gonna say, but like still convenient enough that it's comfortable. So we really, really enjoyed that. Not too crowded, not that too many tourists. Really, really nice spot. And yeah, the West Coast has not changed. Like it's still, I felt super safe, nice grocery stores, super convenient, coffee shops, like everything that you need. However, there was absolutely no like nightlife. So if you want to party, I don't recommend Samara whatsoever. Other tips and stuff that are like just, you know, good thing to know. A rain poncho will save your life. So get one, they're like $3. Honestly, you can buy them there, and it depends when you go. So the rainy season is actually September, October, and the transition season from dry to rain is actually April and May. So be aware if you're going during that time, there could be a lot of rain. And yeah, a poncho is like $3 and it's gonna be a game changer. Another really cool thing in Costa Rica is that you can actually pay by card. We use Wise. I just love Wise. I discovered Wise on this trip and it was great. And Costa Rica is one of the very few places where you can actually pay with your card rather than always carrying cash almost everywhere else in Latin America. So that's great. If you are a digital nomad and you are going to Costa Rica, everyone's gonna tell you, oh my God, the power outages, the power outages. Honestly, for us, it wasn't that bad. There was like two really big ones, but other than that, it wasn't that bad. So I don't know where that rep comes from, but if it's like ride or die for you, make sure that you stick to places that have co-working spaces. And that way, like, they will have generators, they will, or you can have your own Starlink if you want, but beware of people that are gonna tell you that. It's really not that true. But yeah, that's it. If it's your first time in Costa Rica, I highly recommend you stick to the West Coast. That's gonna be where you're gonna have the best weather, the best time, and then explore and pura vida. So I hope this was helpful, guys, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.